Welcome to the fight game. He's Icewater. I'm Puma. We're going to start off talking about the Ryan Garcia fight against Durante. And what I saw Ice when I was watching this fight is that Ryan Garcia kind of tried to use the Philly shell, which confused Durante in the fight. There were kind of almost penalties for him hitting him in the back. He just didn't know how to fight somebody with the Philly shell. And it just seemed like he did that. I'm speaking of Garcia to protect that left side. He got hit with Tank Davis to protect his body a little bit more and not get a body shot. He was very wary of that. He was kind of dancing around the ring a lot more than I'm used to seeing him. And to me, even though he won the fight, I'm glad he got back into the winning bracket. But it just didn't seem he learned a lot from the Tank Davis fight, because if Durante had the skills that Tank Davis had or close to the skills, it would have been another knockdown and possibly another knockout or TKO of Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I can see that. I think considering that he's changed trainers, he's with Derrick James now, right? It's kind of a work in progress. Not to make excuses for Ryan Garcia, but uh, you mentioned about going into like more of the shell game, right? So kind of turn you back and have guys that are not familiar with that style make them very uncomfortable. Maybe he was protecting himself, putting himself in a position so he could win. Because at the end of the day, when you make that transition, you know, there's so many fighters that try to make transitions with new trainers. It's not always smooth the first or second time out. So making transitions, it's not really about making it look sexy or making it look pretty. It's about making the transition, continue to build on it, get more comfortable with your new style, like Ryan Garcia appears to be doing. But most importantly, it's about winning the fight, right? And I think that's what he did. So if you're looking for him to be real comfortable, and maybe the start of it too is that Derrick James wants him to box more. I mean, he's tall, he's lanky, he has power. Still a little boxing in there if he can really understand it, the ins and outs of more of a subdued boxing style and keeping people up off of him, then maybe perhaps that's going to make him a better fighter because you're broadening his horizons in regards to the style, the way he's able to, if he learns how to box.
Yeah, because he's still susceptible to that left hook, keeping his right down. And if Durante had any punching power in this fight, that would have been a knockout right there. I mean, Tank Davis was catching him there. But it just seemed to me, it appeared to me that he was really trying to protect the body, not to go down that way again. And he went into his own version of the Philly shell. And folks out there, if you can't do the Philly shell and you haven't worked out, you can really get hurt doing that particular style of fighting. And if you haven't been taught by the Mayweathers, then I would really be suspect of you using that, because it's not an easy technique or a defense to use. And how you use your offense out of that defense.
Yeah, I mean, you do really need to have somebody that can really show you the ropes. But you know, more or less like survive and conquer right now. So he did just enough, Ryan Garcia, that is, to put himself in a position to take his opponent down. So, like I said, it's more like going into the lab tweaking, even though you're in live action, right? And what Derrick James is looking for him now is to him to work on being more consistent with what he provided him, the style that he's providing him with, to try to up his game. So he has a little bit more, has more in his toolbox in regards to fighting. Depends on what we fight. So if you do fight somebody, you don't have to fight one way, remain a one trick pony, which means you have no other solution as far as adapting and changing up your style based on what you're seeing in the ring.
The other thing about this fight and the press conferences before the fight, it seemed like Ryan Garcia has an axe to grind with De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins. And I want you to go a little bit into that, because it seemed like there's no love lost. I know Ryan Garcia felt like they abandoned him after the Tank Davis fight, but it just seemed like there was some bad blood going back and forth. And Ryan Garcia felt maybe vindicated after winning against their guy.
Yeah, from the standpoint, you think about the history part of it, Ryan Garcia was supposed to be like one of the major players at Golden Boy, right? There was Canelo Alvarez, and then there was up and coming Ryan Garcia. And the reason why Garcia maybe is probably feeling some kind of way is because I'm sure he received a lot of promises, what they were going to do, how they were promoting him and put him in a certain kind of light. But I think once he got to the point where he was winning a bunch of fights, was he like 23-0 for a while, 22-0, whatever,
Yeah, he was. He
whatever it was. Yeah, yeah. But he was at that level where he felt like, yeah, I'm really doing it. But I don't think that De La Hoya or not how the whole Golden Boy group thought he was ready. I don't even think they really wanted to Tank Davis fight, but he wanted it. Garcia wanted it that bad. He wanted to try to prove himself. And I don't think he was ready. I don't think they thought he was ready. So then at that point, he probably got mad and said, I'm done with you guys. And they were like, they probably thought that was a big relief to them because I'm sure they thought when you fight 24 fights and you're that young and you're that talented, that you're going to bring a little bit more moxie. You have a little bit more pop, more bang, and be better, basically. Going to be a better fighter. And I think he's in that still developing stage, which he's hoping Derek James can help him with. But I think he's just mad, man, because I think he was probably promised a lot. And on return, you kind of look at Terrence Crawford, connected with Bob Arum because he thought he was going to get big fights. And he never did. He never really got them, even though he's been told otherwise. He never got big fights, and maybe the same can be said here about Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy.
All right. There's another big fight coming up this week, Devin Haney against Regis Porgrais. And I kind of feel that Devin Haney, they say styles makes fights. And I just think that Haney's style is going to give Regis Porgrais a lot of trouble in this fight. His footwork, his hand speed. Your thoughts about this fight?
Yeah, I can see that. But Regis Porgrais is going to go out on the shield. Whatever happens, he's going to come forward. The one thing here is a little bizarre is Devin Haney, I think from the outset, they knew he's not trying to come back down any lower, right? So he's a bigger guy. You look at him now, it's looked like he was already made for this division, or he was already here a long time ago. He just was kind of taking shortcuts or whatever it may be to get down to that weight, right? The lighter weight at lightweight. But now he's at junior welterweight, and he looks like he's big, like a big dude. Like Porgrais said, he looked like he's like 170. So he looked like a little small miniature linebacker or something, thick neck, the whole thing. But Porgrais is gonna have to come forward and almost take an approach if he can, kind of like Lomachenko did. You got to be aggressive. You got to be moving. You got to back Devin Haney up. Devin Haney doesn't like to go backwards. If you let him control, take his time, box, and to a point where he can move around, like he did against Kambosos, where you can't hit him, it's gonna be a long night. So Porgrais is a sharpshooter. He likes to bang. He's powerful. He's gonna have to use that to his advantage, where you literally have to put Devin Haney in the mindset that he's in danger. Okay, which means he's going to start moving him, not say running, but moving and trying to stay away out of harm's way. But if you let him dictate the fight and control with the punches that he does and being first, it's going to be a long night for you. So Porgrais is going to have to be very, very, very aggressive, but also cautious to try to win this fight.
All right, I'm going to give you my prediction of this fight. I think it will go the distance, but I give the unanimous decision to Devin Haney. Your thoughts?
Ooh, I can see that, but I like Porgrais. I know he's been a champion who has been undermined, and what I mean by that, they're not giving him the love he thinks he deserves. But just to see the size of Devin Haney, oh my God, he's too freaking big. And I think that's going to be a problem. I do. I think his punches are going to be just as hard, if not harder, in this division. And I think Porgrais is going to get frustrated and he's going to come with it. And I think Devin Haney stops him. Round 8.
Round 8?
Round 8, because the pressure is going to build when you feel like you're losing, and a guy like Porgrais is coming forward. He gonna try to go get him. And if you don't connect with Devin Haney and you can't smother him and get inside and fight tactical the rest of the way, you take too many chances you can get caught. And I think that's going to happen, especially because he's so big and probably leaning on him the whole nine. He's a bigger guy. So I'm going to go with Devin Haney at 8.
Do you feel Haney is at the weight that he's more comfortable with now, as opposed to being a lighter weight?
No doubt. You can just tell. He walk around like, oh, I can eat now. I can eat. It's like he just seems real comfortable. So it's a lot harder for a guy like that that's already seems physically bigger to go ahead and drop down to 135, right?
Yeah.
Oof, that's rough. I mean, and he's growing. He's going into, as they say, that whatever he's going into his whatever his man weight,
Man body.
man body, right? So he's coming into that, and yeah, I'm sure he's really happy at 140 because he goes, hell, I can get to 165. All I got to go to 140. That last 5-6 pounds is tough. I can do 140 all day.
All right, folks, you want to stay close to our show. We got some special guests coming up before the end of the year, and we're going to talk about some great fights finishing out the last part of the year. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and this is the Fight Game.